In this video, we'll have a look at how to use the multi-dimensional perceptual map template that you've been provided with. When you open it, it'll look like this, and you'll see that there's 5 tabs down the bottom. This is our main input page, and it says please follow steps 1 to 5 in yellow, and you can see they're fairly clear. So step 1 is you type in what is the name of the map. So I've got an example map, but you can just change that or change it to whatever you like. And when we finally see the map over here on the next tab, it automatically updates. So that's where it will appear. The next step is to enter the brand names, and I've just got some names that would possibly be from a simulation game. And again, you can just type over the top of these, changing them to whatever you would like to call them, or whatever they are, in fact. And then we've got up to 25 brands that we can put across here, and then up to 50 attributes. I've got 10 here. Again, some of them are from a simulation game, and they're just pretend data. So that's basically, you do that, and then the names first, and then step 4 is you enter the data. Now this data has been prepared in a scale basis, a 1 to 7 scale basis by the look of it. But you can put your data in any scale, because when the template uses the data, it standardizes all the data. So you may have something that is on a 1 to 7 scale, and perhaps something that's on a 1 to 100 scale, but the formulas will equate that and bring them back to the same scope and range and variance. But very important, and I've listed it twice, that's how important it is. If you have a high score, that means that it has a high similarity. So for example, here we've got 6.4. So this brand here is the most easiest brand in the minds of the consumers, whereas this one here is 3.5, or if we go down here to battery 2, it's not very similar, so it's a weak battery. So it doesn't matter how you structure the data, just make sure you use that. And once that's all done, that's all we have to do. And then we click that button. Now before we click that button, if you've never used the template before, there's a couple of steps you may need to do. First one here, you need to add Excel Solver. And over here, we have the instructions, and there's a couple of steps, not that complicated, which you just basically involve going from File, down to Options, down to Add-ins, Excel Add-ins, and then just making sure we have Solver Add-in ticked. Now, what we have to do, and this is sometimes where we get a little bit tricky, is we have to save the spreadsheet, then exit Excel, get out of Excel completely, and then reopen it, and it will work. If you have an Apple Mac, your instructions are slightly different. You will have Tools in your top menu, up the top somewhere, possibly outside of Excel itself. You click Add-ins and then Add Solver. So identical structure, but you also need to save and exit completely out of Excel. And if you have, you should be able to check for it. If you go back into an Apple Mac and redo that exercise, it will already be ticked. If you have another computer, if you click on Data at the top here, Solver should appear over here in the corner. Okay, so you know it's there. So the macro will run. Occasionally on newer versions of Excel, I haven't seen this on Apple, but it may be on other things. You may get something like this. It hits the word Solver Reset, which is what we're using, part of the Solver, and it can't find it. And you have to follow these steps here. But this is a little bit more rare, but it sits there for you. So once your data's in, and you can add extra stuff here. So again, you can just type in and whatever the numbers would be across here. But just for the sake of it, I've just set up 10 attributes. So once it's done, you hit that button. Okay, and you'll see this come up here, and what you need to see is down the bottom left hand corner some numbers moving around. So I was trying to improve the scores of something. Now this will run for about 5 minutes. Okay, so there's nothing you can do with Excel at this time, but what you can do is work in any other program. So you just go back to the internet or go back to a Word document or a PowerPoint document and just let this run in the background. And once it's finished running, it'll pop into the map function. So I'm going to pause the video now while that happens, and we'll come back and see what the outcomes are. Okay, once the macro has finished running, it will take you to the map worksheet automatically, and it'll produce something that looks like this. This is just pretend data, so it's all over the place. In the videos for the course, you'll actually see how we interpret the data and how we use it. A couple of things we've got to see here. At the top, we've got a 93% correlation. So for the pretend data that I used and the map, they are 93% correlated, and again I will explain in the video for the course how that has worked and why that's important. This is a video about how to use it. Over here we have an optional thing. Now there's only 10 attributes here, so the map's not too crowded, but we've got 2 here that are advanced and ahead of the curve. So you might want to take one of them out. So I'm going to hit the word no there, and I've taken advanced out. If you have a lot of attributes and it gets quite cluttered, it may be worthwhile doing it. It doesn't change the intent of the map. It doesn't change anything like that. You can't take brands out. You can only take the attributes out. And then finally, we have a radar chart. Now again, in the main video, we will look at how we use the radar chart to help interpret and understand what we're doing here. I'll just make that a little bit smaller, and this is quite helpful. And this has been set up as an interactive tool, so automatically calculates average. So you might want to look at the just the R brands versus the average. So all you would do is take all of these out, and as you can see, there are lines disappearing as we do that. And in this case, I'm looking at the 2 R brands, which are in the purple and the blue, and I'm having a look at how they compare to the average brand. And I can just take anything out and add to it, etc. So this, again, is an important function, and it's just set to a yes-no type structure. Okay, so hopefully that's all you need to do. That's your input. Set up solver first. Once all your data's in and everything's set to go, you click that button, go do something else, you'll be spat here. If you like the map, you can copy it and paste it on, and you can help interpret it with this, which we'll explain at a later stage. Any errors, they fix up there, or you can email me directly if that would help you. Okay, good luck with it.